What was that look for? That was a bad look.
Why are you slapping my head?
Because you offered it. You offered it to
Never
me.
in your life have you slapped my head. So now that I've got a bald head, that's just a thing. Kaira,
Bald heads are slappable.
that was a violation. I felt such a violation. I felt like a hand-to-hand slap. By the way, people, we just recorded an hour and a half of a podcast and the audio wasn't recording. So we're starting again. But we're not going to redo what we just done. We're just going to organically have a no conversation, right? So welcome back to CHATaBOX, the #1 trending podcast on your YouTube screen across all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and another platform that I'd never heard of, but we're apparently on. Wherever you are listening to or watching on, please show us the support and give us a thumbs up, a like, 5 stars, a review, a comment, share it, send it to your nan, send it to your granddad, send it to someone you don't know, recommend it to somebody, do something that helps us, please.
Put it on your WhatsApp story if you're over 40.
Put it on that WhatsApp story. I'm your host, Bailey, here with the one and only
Kaira.
Beautiful name. And we're just going to get straight into it.
Yeah.
We did address my bald head in the last episode, though. Like, I don't want to go over old ground, but I can't just sit here looking like Lex Luthor with no address. We can't not address it. So, like...
Looking like Gypsy Rose.
Who?
That is a mean reference.
Gypsy Rose?
Yeah.
Who's Gypsy Rose?
Oh, I feel mean having said that now.
Was it somebody who died from cancer or something?
She had various illnesses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have said that. That's
Why?
bad of you. Feel shamed for the next few minutes. But yeah, having a little bit of a midlife crisis at the minute.
Is it indicative of something deeper going on underneath the skin?
Indicative. So earlier in the episode, you've given us a word of
Word
the week.
of the week. Indicative.
Indicative.
Does this indicate something? So if something is indicative, it's indicating something else.
It's indicating that the corners are struggling and I can't ignore it.
Right.
And it started off with, I wanted to cut my hair off before I came to Thailand. I tried to get a haircut when we first got here. He butchered my hairline. I then realised how precious my barber back home was.
Why does it when
What
you...
did I just call Wes? Huh?
Why when you frown, does it stop at the hairline?
What?
Like, why does it stop at the hairline? It's like it goes into your corners, but it doesn't go across your...
What
we
goes
don't
into
speak.
my corners?
Your frown bits. Stop doing it because it's looking so intense. with
My
people's
frown
heads.
goes into my corners. I don't know what you're talking about, but I can't help it. Is this something you just noticing now I'm bald?
Yeah, I've never noticed that before.
Anyway, I'm bald by choice is what we all need to take
That
into...
is by choice.
We all need to consider that this is a choice. Yeah, I could have soft edges.
And I'm here in solidarity because I didn't do my hair today just in case he felt self-conscious.
But yeah, it's definitely... We spoke about it in the episode we lost. There's definitely a little bit of a midlife crisis, but we're over it, all right? Just get your comments out of the way now.
You don't sound very over it.
It's because I'm new. Every time I see myself, like I can see myself on that screen, I just don't recognize that head.
You look like Dr. Evil. Name, insert other bald people in the comments.
Go on, let's get them all. Let's hear it all.
Ainsley Harriott.
Who?
Ainsley Harriott.
Who's Ainsley Harriott?
The chef.
Oh! Ainsley Harriott.
The green tomatoes.
The thing is, yeah, I feel like I can still, like, I've probably got another 3 or 4 years left till I actually think I need to do this. And now that I've done it,
you're not scared.
I'm feeling all right with it. Like, here's the thing, right? If I was Mullah, for example, yeah? I'm not saying this is Mullah. I'm not saying this is Mullah. But if I was Mullah, yeah, I would just have shaved my head so long ago and just, yeah, all right, let's have it. Got your jokes? We're done with it now? Moving on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hair's a big thing for guys. Hair's a big thing for everyone.
I think maybe because I've shaved my head, I've got this. But if my hair fell out, maybe I'd feel more sensitive. But I do, like, my corners are going. I'm noticing, like, especially since I cut it low, that scar, because that scar, like, perfectly touches there. Because the corners are going. It looks like I've got, like, a... What's that Oakley? What's that brand? Is it Oakley? It's like
O'Neill.
O'Neill?
I don't
Is
know what
O'Neill
you're
got
talking
like a wave like that?
about. I don't know.
Anyway, every time I was looking at my hair, I was like that. So I was like, "Bah, I'm shaving this. Let me shave." I just didn't realize when we reshaved. I didn't realize I didn't go this low the first time,
Yeah, it's pretty low.
and we started there.
Pretty low.
Pretty
It's
low.
pretty low.
But anyway, there it is. Bailey's Bald 2025 by choice for now.
Not indicative of a breakdown.
And where's my glasses? Just to add to the age, my prescriptions always on. So, all right, we're not gonna go over old ground unless there's anything you remember that you want to bring up.
Nope.
Let's just start by going straight into those dilemmas because we didn't get to those.
We haven't had a dilemma for a minute.
Yeah, so I'd appreciate a good dilemma, especially if this is a good one. What we got. If you want to send in your dilemmas, send them to chatterbox.contact@gmail.com. That's
CHATaBOX.contact@gmail.com.
yeah. If you got any dilemmas, questions, or just topics that you think will make a good episode, a great episode, send them in. Me and Kaira, as she's doing now, we'll go through the emails, we'll check them, and we will keep you anonymous as well. No,
Okay, I've got one here.
go on.
Okay, this is female, or the information that we've been given is female 28. Just a bit of context.
Might be going through a hoe phase.
No, that's very presumptuous of you.
28 is a good age to go for a hoe phase.
Is it?
If you think about it, maybe at 28, you might have been in a relationship since school. You've just broken up.
That's a long time.
That's what I mean. So a lot of people, before they hit 30, might have come out of a long relationship. You've missed all your 20s. Have a hoe
thought
phase.
maybe for men, but I think for girls it's probably a bit earlier. No.
What, to have a hoe phase?
Mm.
Have we spoke about it?
Yeah, you have, and I've never had one.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, okay, this is literally the worst thing I've ever had to type. Not sure I can do this. My mum, she's 51, is sleeping with my mate from college. He's 30. It started as a joke.
That's not a big gap just to start.
21 years is not a big gap. That is a massive gap.
30 and 50.
Yeah.
And the woman's 50.
Yeah.
And the man's 30.
Yeah.
Is that big?
It's a big gap.
I wouldn't
regardless.
go with a 50-year-old.
That's a big gap regardless.
Definitely not in my 30s. But
That's a big gap regardless, I think. It started as a joke, like she'd flirt with him when he came round, but now I've seen the text messages and they're talking about going on holiday together, and she genuinely thinks that he's different. I'm mortified, so embarrassed. I feel betrayed by both of them, but every time I try to say something to her, she keeps saying, well, you're just jealous. Should I let her live her life, or should I call this out properly and tell them I'm uncomfortable?
there's moving parts to this, yeah, because all right, the first thing I was thinking was, well, a 30-year-old dating a 51-year-old is not the most extreme thing I've heard, but it's your friend. Would I let my friend date my mum? Let me just try and clear that up. No,
So
immediately no.
Any of your friends? Does it depend on the friend or any?
I went in my head. I put Muller in there, and then I put EXO, and I just went no.
Definitely when
Right.
your ex said date your mum.
And then let me just think. Right, so those are two people I wouldn't want to date my mum. But have I even got friends that I think, oh,
Like someone.
they're a
What
catch.
about if they were
I
like
want them
a
to date.
nice, dependable? What about like a nice guy like Jerome?
Jerome from the gym. So Jerome's met my mum out.
Yeah.
Doesn't know it's my mum.
Well, no. In this scenario, they know it's your
He's
mum.
met my mum through being my mum.
Yeah.
That's the issue. I think it's all gonna come down to how we got here. If you're my friend and you've come to my house and you've seen my mum and that's how it sparked, you've taken the piss.
Why is it taking the
But
piss?
if you went to a pottery class on a Thursday once just to try something new, and
But why is that
my
taking
mum
the
was
piss?
there and you sparked,
Yeah.
and then I was like, hey, that's my mum, it would be different.
But why is it taking the piss that it was in your house?
No, that it was in my house, that I've introduced you to my mum. Like if the second I introduce you to my mum, you can't go off on create some feelings.
Why?
I don't know. I think that's different.
Okay, so in this scenario, what should this person do?
This person,
Because it's kind of awkward because it seems like it's a female, right? And it was her friend who would come to the house. So my question is, were you guys fucking or were you guys just friends?
Oh wait, the person who wrote it, and we assume is a female.
It is a female. We
It's
said
a
that at the
female.
beginning. Yeah.
It is a female.
28.
All right. And her friend's a girl. No, her
No,
friend's a
friend's
guy. Ah.
And they met at college. So were you always friends? Do you guys have history?
Does
that
she
changes
like
things. That changes.
Is that why the
things.
mum's saying you're jealous?
Yeah.
Because she's saying,
She's saying,
you
well, you're
obviously
just
liked
jealous.
him.
Or maybe she's saying you're just jealous because you don't have anyone in your life.
See, the thing is, maybe she's not jealous. And if you're not jealous, you need to just... I think you should stop. I don't think... Then again, no, is your mum happy?
That's the thing. She said, that's what it says in the...
Wait, but even right now, my mum
says she genuinely thinks that he's different. So she must really like him.
Mum, if you're watching this, I want you to be happy. And you can meet who you want, but do not my friends. I'm not gonna.
But is it because
I ain't gonna
is
sanction
it more
that.
about you don't want your mum to date your friends, or you don't want your friends to date your mum? As in, like, you feel like your mum is too special, or is it because you know that your friends are dogs?
I wouldn't want my friend to date my mum right now.
Because you know your friends are dogs.
Even if I didn't, no. Never said that.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like,
So but just to clarify,
yeah.
none of my friends are dogs.
Well,
None of my friends.
none
are
of
dogs.
them, yeah.
None of my friends are dogs. We're not.
I wouldn't speak too
We're not
surely
saying
about that.
We're not saying any of my friends are dogs.
Okay.
That's
You know
not
what I mean? Dogs. I mean what I mean by
Woof,
that.
woof.
innit? Yeah, but you know what I mean by that.
cheating.
Yeah.
None of them do
Untrustworthy.
that. No, they're all trustworthy.
Unfaithful.
They're all faithful.
They're all no, they're not.
whom?
Oh my gosh. This is the
I think
issue.
I'd be more
Lies.
concerned with them wiggling into like inheritance and stuff.
What?
What if my friend, yeah, somehow married my mum and then started talking to me about the house? And I was like, what are you talking about? And it's like, well, just so you know, like,
I'm married.
I'm married to your mum now. The house is basically mine. I'm like, hold on. I've never even thought about this sort of stuff, but what's like, do you know what I mean?
Is that genuinely where your mind went?
No,
That's
my
sad.
mind's on. I can't have anyone talking about my mum, having sex with my mum. That's a barrier.
Okay, so what should this person do? Does she turn around and say, "I'm not happy with
she's
this"?
gonna have. The thing is,
or does she let her be?
the result is you're gonna fall out with your mum. If she likes the guy, you're gonna have to just fall out and then fix it. I think but I'm not saying you should fall out. I think you should voice your opinion, knowing that you're probably gonna fall out.
Just as a separate, it's just because it just came to my mind. Yeah, that's your advice, by the way.
Wait, is that my
gonna fall
advice? My advice is you should address it. I don't think you should be quiet, because if it bothers you now, it's gonna bother you later. You should address it and understand that if your mum likes this person, she's probably
Also,
gonna resist.
If you don't live with them, I don't think it's that much of a big deal. If you live with your mum, yeah, cool. Because if you live at home and you're coming back and they're snuggling on the sofa, or you're hearing in the room, that might be an issue. But
Or
if you don't live with your mum, then just don't socialise with them.
I was about to say, what if they're at college? These are older people.
Yeah,
right?
they're 28 and 30. Just don't socialise with them. I don't think that's been doing. But can I just ask you a devil's advocate question? What if, God rest his soul, it was the other way around, and it was like Nadia dating your dad?
Nadia dating my dad. That's
Which is
weird.
his friend.
It's just weird. I think I'd just approach it with it's weird.
But is it as uncomfortable as Muller dating your mum?
I can't even picture my dad do it. It's weird because I can't even I can see like how the scenario, but I can't imagine it happening. Yeah, it would be weird. Would I be as protective of my dad? No. That's the difference. With my mum, I'm like, who's this guy? Why is he dating you? And
because my mum has dated guys who, I know my mum watches this as well, so I'm not airing out your entire dirty laundry, Laura, but she's dated guys who are younger and probably more, I would say, within my dating age range.
What's the oldest?
And
you could
I
date?
didn't like it.
What's the oldest you would date?
Me
Me and you break up tomorrow. And
the oldest I would date. If I was to be single again, I'd date younger.
Younger?
Yeah.
What? So you're 30. You would date?
Yeah. The youngest I would date is like 25.
You would go out with a 25-year-old?
Yeah.
No, Kaira.
No, Kaira.
No, Kaira.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Kaira.
Why not?
You and a 25-year-old?
Why not?
Because you're an old woman.
Yeah.
For a 30-year-old.
Yeah, but I'm.
So you want to
but
be
I'm
going
active.
higher. I'm immature
active.
for you.
I'm active.
You're not active.
I'm active.
You're not active.
I'm active.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm definitely not active because this last couple of weeks we had Max and Shay here having the time of our lives, and we were trying to go out to a half moon party.
Oh my god, this guy complained the whole.
I didn't complain.
time.
I just sat on my own for a bit.
The whole night you was on your own.
From about.
I tried to come and dance with you at one point, and you was like, I was like, oh.
Imagine you go to an island, and the party don't stop. You can't leave the island until the 4 a.m. The boat don't go back till 4.
Yeah, but my thing is that you would have had a much better time committing to the enjoyment than sitting on your own for 3 hours. I did not like the music. I wasn't as drunk as everyone there, but I thought I'm here now, so I might as well make the memories while our friends are here.
No, but I tried for a bit, but then I know you were
stressed, so I think that was also a contributing factor. But I think in those scenarios, you just have to kind of get with it or get out.
Well, then that's the thing. So you're gonna be dating this woman that can't do that.
Me?
No, like a 30-year-old dating a 51-year-old.
Depends on the 51-year-old.
Maybe that 51-year-old can go out once.
Women's libido changes as well.
Maybe a 51-year-old can go out once, but they're not going out again.
Women start to get into their sexual prime, whereas men start to decline.
What? You're
going
to get horny as we get older.
That's why women tend to
but what about when
date younger when they break up.
What about when you have your menopause?
Yeah, well, that changes everything again.
Back,
but then they also have another sexual prime after that.
In short, I would, if I was the girl and my mum was dating a friend, I understand why you would have a problem with that. I think you're entitled. I don't think it's immature for you to voice it and trying to. I wouldn't be cool with that. The thing is, though, you have to balance it with, if your mum's happy, are you going to be happier knowing she's on her own?
What was that?
Was that like a little?
Was that a bar?
Well, I don't know. It felt like one. That's actually what you should take from this. Like, if you get what you want and they break up, and you're happy, is your mum gonna be happy? And I wouldn't let any of my friends date my mum. Period.
Okay. I've got a long dilemma and a short dilemma. I think because we're a couple, we get sent a lot of couple stuff.
I'm fucking happy with that because a couple of weeks ago there was no dilemma. We've got
a long one.
That was the dilemma.
And then the long one, which I'm only just reading now.
Long to read or long to talk about?
Long to read. But I don't know if you're going to want to talk about this one.
Go on, I want to talk about this one.
And then we've got a short one, which is also quite good. I just need to find it. Which one do you want first? The long one.
The long one.
Okay, this is from a female again. Okay. Hi, CHATaBOX, Bailey, Kaira. I adore you both.
Thank you.
You actually make me feel normal for overthinking everything. So here goes. Here's a big overthink. I've been with my boyfriend for nearly 3 years and I genuinely do love him. He's kind, he's funny, we laughed a lot and we have a really solid thing going on paper. But for the last year or so, the sex side of our relationship has completely felt well off. Not completely gone, but it's definitely not the same. The main issue for me is that he never initiates anything, ever. And if I don't make the move, nothing happens. At first, I just brushed it off. Stress, work, whatever, but now it's really started to get to me. I've tried subtle hints like being affectionate, dressing up nicely, walking around in just my towel, and nothing. So then I upped it. I started to send him flirty text messages while he was at work, even a few pictures, and then a short video once, which, by the way, took a lot for me to do. And he replied with something just like, "You're beautiful," and then carried on with his day. That really hurt. I felt so exposed and I put myself out there and got nothing back. It makes me question everything. It's not like I want sex every day, but I do really feel like I need the intimacy. And it's one of the ways that I feel loved when life gets hectic. I think it's meant to hectic. But when I don't get it from him, I start to feel like I'm spiraling, wondering if he still finds me attractive. Maybe he's cheating with someone else, or maybe I'm just not that desirable anymore. I did ask him directly and he said it's not about me. He just doesn't think about sex that much, or he's just tired. but that doesn't make me feel any better. It just makes me feel needy. I honestly feel really embarrassed writing this, so please keep me anonymous. But society tells us that men are meant to be the ones that are constantly chasing sex. And here I am sending lingerie pictures and he's watching Match of the Day. What do I do? How do I bring it up without making him feel attacked? Or worse, without making myself feel more rejected? I don't want to nag him about sex because that's not attractive, but I also don't want to shrivel up into a completely sexless friendship. Please help.
Why wouldn't I want to talk about this one?
Because in all transparency, prior to this conversation, we were having a conversation about sex. So I just thought maybe you wouldn't want to talk about it. It's just funny that if that came up.
Right.
The irony.
I think, how long have they been together?
Maybe that's... They've only been together
3 years.
3 years. And she said the last year has felt different.
I don't know. 3 years is a bit short. We're 8 years. And like, so I was like thinking, did you write that out of part of it? Innit?
What makes you say that?
Because you literally just said some of that stuff to me before we started filming the first episode today.
Yeah.
But I think if... Okay, so...
That's why I'm so intrigued to know your answer.
I don't know if I'm answering for them or I'm answering for myself right now. I feel like I have been put here. By the way, we have sex. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to...
But can I also just say,
sex.
I'm already feeling like a little bit anxious about this because I feel like on this podcast, I just get called out as a feminazi.
Yeah.
Last week I was getting told I was boring by Max and an ick. And then...
When did he say you're boring?
Well, listening to me on Speed Up is saying you're boring.
Okay. You talk a lot. You're not boring.
It's boring.
That's not... No, you never said you're boring.
And now we're about to tell the whole public that I'm incredibly unsexy.
No,
so
that's the thing.
I'm just like, oh.
This is what I mean, right? So I think she didn't... If I'm going to respond to you, then she could take the response. Maybe you're being too sensitive.
Okay.
And maybe...
Let's just speak about her. Should we just speak about her? Let's just speak about her.
I think can be miscommunication sometimes.
I think like what's difficult is that she's saying that she feels like she's putting in effort and he obviously likes her and loves her, but maybe she's feeling like if he doesn't initiate it, then she doesn't feel very wanted. And I also think as well, what's interesting is what she says at the... I think she said something at the end about it. What are you laughing at?
I don't know.
I was like, this is what I didn't
when
want
you
to say
said
it.
initially, when she said, let me just put... I feel like this is your own notes.
No, she said... No, I just think it's an important point to say. She says, society tells us that men are meant to be the ones that are constantly chasing sex. And it's true. Like, we're always told that it's like men that love sex. Men think about sex every 7 seconds.
That was
it is.
back way before...
Now all they are thinking about
before
is the
Equality
game.
Street.
What are you talking about?
You don't know about that song, Equality Street?
Anyway, so what I'm saying is...
That is...
What do you even mean it was back when?
Before it was down for the men to initiate.
No,
Yeah?
I'm not saying about initiation. I said I'm saying that in
Chase.
society, men are seen to be the ones that are constantly thinking about sex. So then if you're with a man who doesn't want to have sex with you, then it feels like, well, that's not normal.
He's probably wanking.
Right. I feel like this is too awkward.
Why?
It's too awkward.
He's probably wanking. He's probably watching too much porn.
Really?
I think. Maybe. Potentially. Not saying I am.
How does she know he's not cheating?
But so you can jump to that.
I feel like you're making it out to these guys that you're watching loads of porn and we don't have sex.
No, we do have sex. Look, to clear up, Kaira sent me a sexy video and I didn't see it straight away. And when I did see it, she was shouting at me about something else.
I wasn't shouting.
So
I was
didn't
asking a question from the bedroom.
I didn't respond how I should have responded.
I was asking a question from the bedroom. I was asking you a question. I wasn't shouting at you. I said, Reese, where's this?
Yeah.
And you were like,
no, I was like, her watching the video. And then you was like, ah! And I was like, oh, Kaira. I said, I was like watching your video.
Yeah. So then.
Anyway, do you want to pause this and go just quickly get one out of the way?
No.
All right, cool. Just to let you know.
That is so unromantic.
I'll put a songs on. I'll put a sexy song on.
Okay.
I don't know, you know, because I go through phases where I'm really horny all the time and then I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm really horny when you're on your period.
No, we're
not because
talking about that.
Not because I want to have sex with you on your period.
We're not talking about that.
But because I know I can't have sex. Because I know it's off. We're not having, like, and I don't always know. Remember, like, sometimes I'm just around you and you're like, you can't have sex. I'm like, how? You know, I'm on period. I'm like, oh, now I'm going to be horny for the next few days. Really horny. And men like the chase, I think.
But then it's just like, it's kind of shit because it's like men like the chase, but she's saying she's putting on nice underwear. She's sending pictures. Like, it's like, if you want something, you should show that you want it. But then it's like, what men like the chase. So what's she meant to do? Just sit there like a nun?
Tell him she's out of bounds.
No, I don't think that's fair.
Tell him it's the forbidden fruit.
I think maybe he doesn't realise. Maybe he's just oblivious to your signals.
That's another thing, because I'm oblivious to some of your signals. She said
she did ask him straight up, and he said he's tired.
Yes, you've asked me straight, and maybe he was tired. But then that doesn't mean it's all the time. I think maybe he could be. I'm oblivious to signals at times. Sometimes I think you girls think your signals are so obvious sometimes.
But sometimes they are.
Come in and
but you know,
coming into the room and staring me in my eyes. Sometimes I think to you is like, I'm horny, but to me I'm like,
so if
what do you want?
The difference is though is that if a girl was to come into a room and a girl was like, I want to fuck,
I'll be down.
It would be so unattractive
to you. To me,
it's unattractive.
If you
would hate it if I did that.
Kaira, if you come in the room and said, "Oi," and I went, "What?" and you went, "I want to fuck," I think I would like that.
No, it's weird.
You wouldn't like that. I couldn't come into the room and say, "Oi, I want to fuck." You wouldn't like that.
No.
I think I would like that. I think I would respond to that better than you coming in the room and staring me in my eyes.
I don't do that. Why are you making me out to be so cringe? I just hate this. This podcast just puts me in such a shit light all the time.
I'm not saying that's Kaira's go-to move. I'm saying signals can get missed.
Yeah.
You said to me today that you've been trying to give me the signs, and I actually responded. You said, what signs, remember? So whatever signs you're talking about, I might have missed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I didn't know that there was, I knew you was flirting with me, but I didn't know there was like green lights, let's go right now sort of thing. I just thought you're just flirting. Because sometimes I think guys might think to get the way you're trying to get to, we got to put in more effort. And that might be the barrier. You know what I mean?
No, not really.
He's not seeing the green light, so he's thinking sex isn't directly on the table right now. I don't know. I think
I don't know. Let me read back on the things.
I think girls might think they're being obvious when they're not being that obvious.
Maybe as well, like, I do think for men, it's like more of a performance thing as well. That maybe, do you get what I mean? What?
Right, go on.
So it's like, it's a pressure for them to perform. And maybe he might be having those issues.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of other reasons.
I have performance issues.
No, you don't.
Why?
This is what I mean. I can't talk about
I don't know
this.
when we're talking about us or them.
I'm saying maybe he.
Yeah, but when you said that, I'm like,
this.
I'm thinking she's like, maybe he has got performance issues.
This is why we can't have these couples things, because it's too close to home.
No, but I'm alright with it.
But what I'm saying is that, like, maybe he feels like it's like he's got to do more. I don't know. Like,
that's another thing.
I'm trying to see the other perspective.
Sometimes I think guys, are happy to just have sex, but we know that that's not really what we like. I feel a bit awkward talking about this because I know your mum watches. But like, if we're gonna have sex, I don't ever expect it to just be just straight go for sex. I feel like I'm gonna have to woo you up a bit, put a bit of work in. No, like, whereas I think if guys knew there's no pressure here, just have sex, they will jump to it more.
Maybe.
This is in relationships.
Also, maybe
I think
it's a
single
case
guys
of, like,
don't even have
if
that
you've
thought.
moved into like, maybe you've moved in together and like you just get comfortable as well, and you're comfortable with someone. it's like there's not as much excitement. Or maybe but when you were dating, you lived with you weren't living together, so it was like, say if you were dating and you only saw each other twice in a week, you would make sure you had sex those 2 days because you're only seeing each other for those 2 days. So it's like, say for example you then live together, if you have sex once a week, or
is sex once a week enough?
I don't know, and that's another conversation. So your libido, everyone's libido is completely different, and like you said, it goes up and down.
This is me learning for you. Let me learn about you.
Yeah.
How often do we have sex?
Don't know. Do you want me to tell everyone that?
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't know. I actually couldn't say.
What,
Can't remember the last time we had sex.
Shut up. When did we last have sex?
Yesterday.
So what are you talking about then?
I'm just joking.
Oh, okay. I forgot it was yesterday.
But before that, it'd been a while.
Because you was on your period.
No, because your sister was here.
True. Yes. And then you was on your period.
And then I was on my period. Right. And then you were probably in a mood with me about something.
I feel like there's a 2-week window.
Yeah.
In each month where sex can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Quick maths. But if something was to interrupt that 2 weeks, like my sister staying with us, then there's only a 1 week. So does that is sex once a week? You can't even have sex once a week.
No, that's the point. Well, we can, but the issue is that like within that 2 week window, like if I'm on my period for 1 week and then the week before, I'll be honest, usually I have PMS the week before. I'm not really feeling very attractive, and also you're probably pissing me off more, and you're probably getting annoyed at me, and then we argue. So we're not going to have sex after that. We're not one of these couples that have wild makeup sets. I don't know how people do that.
I'm on that if you're on that.
You never showed me that.
Like next time we argue.
But anyway, my point being is that it's not 2 weeks because we physically can't do it for 2 weeks. It's only probably for 3 or 4 days of the month we can't do it. But for some reason,
when you come off your period, you're more horny.
Okay.
That's right, no?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Ovulation period.
Yeah, it's after that, but yeah.
That's after.
Yeah.
When's ovulation period? What's ovulation mean?
I'm actually ovulating right now. If you're interested. I don't mean interested in that. Interested in my cycle.
So does that mean you're happy now? Because you do seem happy. And horny.
Yeah.
You
maybe.
Horny? Yeah.
I was. I'm not anymore.
I've lost them. Have I missed an opportunity?
The window is closing.
Did I miss an opportunity?
The window is closing.
Closing or closed?
It's like this much left open.
I can work with that.
Okay.
I can work with that. Let's keep that window open.
But yeah, I think as well, like guys just see things differently and maybe are not picking up on signs.
100%. I think, like, speaking from experience, like I know Kaira shows signs, and I miss them because I only hear about them after I've missed them. So maybe he's missing. And
she says that she feels like it's harder to connect. Like that's how she shows connection, and I understand that. But I think you have to.
By sex.
Yeah, and I think you have to find other ways to connect. Maybe intimacy, it sounds so wanky, but like intimacy is different to sex. So like I had to learn that in a so way. Like I used to feel like it would be easier to like solve things with sex, right? So not make up sex, but like as in like I would feel like it was easier to be like, it's easier to give your body to someone sometimes than be like,
say sorry.
Maybe say sorry or any of those other things. Do you get what I mean? And like I'd be like, oh, I feel like we need to have sex because I feel like I'm losing you type thing. Do you get what I mean? So that would be that. Whereas you're much more of a tactile person and be like, I'm not really like a cuddly person particularly. Yeah,
you are now though.
But now I am because I appreciate that intimacy is more than just.
Do you know when I met Kaira, she was not on spooning.
Don't like spooning.
Not on spooning, you know.
Don't like touching my feet.
Don't touch my feet. I couldn't.
Don't really like touching.
This is what I had to. This is the girl I met.
If it was sexual or dancing, we can do that. But other than that, I'm not really. And like my friends know that about me.
It's so weird because she's converted me. Cause I think I love the spoon, and then for so long now, I sleep on my own.
But yeah, I just
We
think
cuddle until we fall asleep. Till when she's ready to fall asleep, I have to get off.
But I think we have you have to learn that intimacy is different than just sex, and also like, for example, maybe he doesn't want to have full blown sex, but maybe you could like shower together and like make out in the shower and like, I don't know, wash each other. And do you get what I mean? Like that's still very intimate. Sure, you're not gonna like orgasm from that, but
What?
being in the shower,
Why?
just kissing.
Oh, okay.
But like, do you get?
I hate shower sex.
Do you?
I hate shower sex. Not with you. I love shower sex with you. Okay, wait. Let me start again. I prefer sex everywhere else except the shower. So, can I say why? Can I say why?
Go for it.
I think you'd think it would be more slippy in the shower, but it gets a bit grippy. It's like a different texture. And also, have you seen what happens to Are you okay?
Yeah, just lots of this sex conversation make me feel a bit
Makes you feel uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What?
Like you're putting out a lot. I feel like
no, I'm not. I'm saying sex in the shower.
Yeah.
Have you seen what cum looks like when it gets wet?
Yeah.
It turns into something else. Turns into like a rubber that you can't get rid of. Do you know what I mean? And it's if it touches you, that's it. It's stuck to you.
Yeah.
So all of these things are just like I love shower blowjobs.
Which you won't be getting anymore.
Those
so
are great.
You love the memory of those.
Those are great.
Yeah.
I do love the memory of those.
Yeah.
I've bared a bit too much of my soul here.
You're being very open.
Shower
out
sex.
there.
Shower sex isn't as good as bed sex. Has offended you?
No, it's not offended me.
That's all. The idea of it and that it looks good, but the practicality of shower sex, I think, is a bit like. I often feel for you.
I don't understand how people have sex in the bath. I feel like that is really impractical.
Depends on the bath.
I think that's really impractical, and I wouldn't want to have sex in the water. That just sounds like it's going to be disgusting. You know what I mean? Why is your face like that? Like you're looking back at really good memories.
Because I'm thinking we've had sex in the bath.
I don't think we have.
What that big bathtub you had in that flat we used to live in? We never had sex in that.
Nope.
We just used to get in it.
Yeah.
But we never had sex in it.
No.
That's quite strange. I never noticed. So we used to get in the bath and get out.
Yeah. We never had sex in the bath.
Oh. I forgot.
Okay.
We've had sex in the shower.
Yeah. But obviously didn't enjoy that.
No, but see, that's what I mean. Now I've crossed it up. I'm just saying I get like shower sex is a bit like it's good, but it's like.
But do you see what this is an issue? Yeah. So for example, the reason that I say this is an issue is because, say for example, you're like, okay, sex in the bed. So I'm feeling this dilemma because it's like, if you have been together for a long time, maybe trying to have sex in the shower is trying to switch things up. Because otherwise it's like, okay, you ready now?
Yeah, that.
Let's lie down.
And that's not good.
And
if that's
like,
how you're
you just
offering
wait
sex
there.
as well.
Like, but it's like if you're just waiting in the bed, and then it's like it becomes routine. It's good to know what the other person likes, but it's also like spontaneity is exciting as well.
Yeah,
do you get what I mean? And I feel like that's what all I was trying to say for my bit of advice is try to find other ways to be intimate, and then try to not put the pressure on it leading to sex. But say, for example, you get in the shower while he's in the shower, and then you just, wash his back, and then you might find it might lead to sex. But if it doesn't, then you've had a really nice intimate moment. Or you might be in the kitchen and you might
ask him what his kink is.
Put some honey on your nipples and make it funny. And then he might be like, I don't know, like doing something different, which is intimate, but without the pressure of sex, might make it more sexy for him, maybe.
Well, so you think he's worried about her?
Maybe he's bored. Maybe he's genuinely, like he's saying, he's stressed or tired, I think he said. So maybe it's a case of like, he needs something to like wake that side back up. And he's just it sounds like, you know, you guys have a loving relationship, so it's not like he hates you, but maybe he's just comfortable and it could be a bit bored.
No, but I'm sorry, but if you bought sexy underwear and then like this,
I was wearing sexy underwear last night. I was wearing inside. I was wearing sex. It wasn't. It's like lingerie.
Wait.
And then I sent you. You were sitting outside, and I sent you a message, like a love heart, to be like, love you. Then I tapped on the window.
Is this when you tapped on the window?
Tapped on the window, and I'm bent over in lingerie, and I'm going. I said, babe. I said, come to bed, and you went, oh, I can't hear you. Come to the door, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's right. So pause for a second. Yeah, pause for a second. Because you could be this girl sending your dilemma.
Yeah.
I missed. All I heard was, and I was more like, what? I thought
you looked at me.
I couldn't see you though.
Okay.
I couldn't see you
that
through the glass.
Changes things,
I
then.
saw myself. I'm looking at. Remember, the glass reflects out. So when I'm looking at myself, and I'm like, what? I thought you was moaning that I'm taking too long to just go to bed. Because you do that a lot. Like,
yeah, because you do stay up unnecessarily late
scrolling.
Yeah.
But you always like. So in my head, last night you banged on and you was bent over.
Yeah.
So you think I looked at you bent over.
Yeah.
And said no.
Yeah. And
you went to bed like
in
that.
my soft light setting.
Okay. Deep.
Anyway, this is cringe.
No. This is actually interesting.
Yeah.
Because you've gone to bed thinking that you've shown me this and I've rejected you. But in my head,
after sending my video, by the way.
But in my head,
whole day of rejection.
But do you see that?
A week long of rejection.
Can you see that though?
Yeah.
You know, like when they say perspective on two different sides is completely different stories. You've shown. If I tapped the window and I'd put on something, well, there's nothing I could put on to like woo you, but like the fact that you've done that and you think that I ignored it, I never saw that. I didn't know all that. I thought you just banged on the window like, why haven't you come to bed yet? That's deep.
Okay, so. Basically, girl, I feel your pain. These men are stupid.
And girl, he might not have seen.
And if he's not laying it down, then just leave.
What was you wearing?
Just leave.
When I come to bed, what was you still in it?
Yeah.
What was you wearing?
I'm not telling everyone what I was wearing to bed. Anyway.
Do you know what? That's crazy. I never knew that.
Anyway, do we have another dilemma? I said we had a short one, didn't we? I've got to find it.
No, but you had a video that we was going to watch.
You want to do that?
Oh, give me this. We might as well have 3 dilemmas. How long have we been recording for? Guys, you lot might only be getting a 1 hour episode, but understand we did an hour and a half before this. Is this you giving me a sign again?
No, stop. Stop it.
I see the sign.
I don't know how I wanted to talk about something today, and it's about the fact that I have, it's not a recent realization, but it's something that is going to keep reiterating at the moment through my life, and I think it's important.
Go on.
Right, so I've realized that I am very sensitive.
You just realized?
Yeah.
That you're sensitive.
So, and I think that I want to reclaim that word, because I don't think that necessarily it means that it's a bad thing.
Definitely isn't.
So I think for ages, I thought being sensitive was a bad thing. And I think growing up, right, I've had this realization. I've been doing a bit of writing around this, actually. Yeah. I had this realization that when I was a kid, I was like adultified, like made to grow up very quickly. Right. So being sensitive or crying over things wasn't very productive. It wasn't useful, and that wasn't going to work. Right. And I remember specifically a girl that was in my class at school. Right. And we were in like year 5. So we were still babies, really. And I remember she was such a baby. She was such a crybaby. She used to cry over everything. She was really sensitive. She also like was grew up very coddled. So she didn't really know much about like sex and like things that we weren't meant to be talking about at that age, right? So I used to think she was such a baby. And now I look back and I almost feel jealous, because she was like allowed to be a child, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm just saying. It like back then, it was like it was like a bad thing to be sensitive. It was a bad thing to be emotional and all these things. But now I've gotten older, I realise that I am actually really sensitive, and actually it's me being more, instead of just dissociating from how I feel about things, it's me being more in touch with how I actually feel about things. But then I get embarrassed about my response to those things. Right?
Where does this all come from?
So I think, there's loads of different things that it's come from. I think, like, there's so many different things, but I realise I'm a lot more sensitive than you are. And then I also think sometimes, you know, like, for example, like Shay, might say she's not sensitive, right? But I think she probably is, but she probably masks it a lot. And I don't feel the need to mask things as much anymore. But I feel like in comparison to you or your family, I seem like really sensitive about things. Yeah. A lot. And then basically you were saying the other day, you were like, right, well, I'm not going to do the podcast anymore if you get upset about comments.
Yes. Yeah. And
then I realised that I was like, it's not that I'm saying that I can't handle it, because like I said last week, bring it, come. If you want to be horrible, I actually quite welcome, like.
All right, let's calm down a bit.
No, but I welcome. No, because I'm the only one on here that gets ripped. You don't get ripped. So like I'm saying, I don't.
Hold on, I'm sitting here with a bald head right now.
Yeah.
100% there will be comments about this bald head.
Yeah.
But your eyes skim past it. You don't notice these things.
Yes, I do.
So people get ripped. Everyone gets ripped.
Yeah, but also you did kind of choose this.
No, but the thing is, I welcome it. Like, this is when I did say the other day to Kaira, like I said, you know what, I don't want to do the podcast anymore. That was like a bit of a snap response to just like you being stuck in the comments. Yeah, and I was just like, this ain't worth it. Like, if you like, people can comment horrible things, and they shouldn't dictate your next move. They shouldn't, like, if you can't read them and move past them or laugh with them, then we're in a dangerous business of podcasting.
Of course, but you forget though that, like, when we had that small mini viral moment with the whole gigs thing and whatever, and then I'm getting dragged, or like when I spoke about something to do with like not being able to, I would, as a joke, said if I was a man I would walk home for the night or something like that, and I had all of the fucking men getting really upset in the TikTok comments, like, she wouldn't survive a minute, rah, rah, rah. Like that, I can be like, okay. But sometimes there are like comments where I'm like, damn, like that hit a nerve. And it's often when it's comments about our relationship.
That what?
Like, people will comment about like, oh, Bailey could do so much better than her, or like something like those sort of things. What was that look for? That was a bad look.
Why are you slapping my head?
Because you offered it. You offered it to me.
Never in your life have you slapped my head. So now that I've got a bald head, that's just a thing. Kaira.
Bald heads are slappable.
That was a violation. I felt such a violation. I felt like a hand-to-hand slap.
I think you should cut that out, because the next thing you know, I'll be
get
arrested for abuse.
Get onto that.
Also, just as a like conspiracies follow-up.
Oh, by the way, Delra, if you're watching, we are going to have a part 2 of conspiracy.
Yeah, I've got to do my research.
We've had a lot of conspiracies.
Sent me a lot of work to do, Delroy. Yeah. So I think they've probably signed out after all this awkward sex chat. They're our family. That was 45 minutes of talking about awkward sex stuff.
Was we talking about it for that long?
I don't know.
Sorry if we was.
Sorry if I cringed you out, family. We don't ever have sex. We're celibate. Okay.
So, we're going to watch a little clip and we're going to talk about it. It's a clip that...
I don't know if it's actually... Yeah, okay, go on.
No, it's a conversation point. So I'll put it up on screen so you guys can watch. Play the video.
It's not that men don't want connection. They just confuse it with peace. Like, if nobody's yelling and the bills are paid, boom, intimacy. Meanwhile, women are like, cool, but can you feel me? And the dude's staring at her like she just asked him to bench press her emotions. This isn't sexism. It's wiring, trauma, and social scripts. Girls are raised to attune, to talk, to soothe. Boys, taught to fix, to suppress, to not be a burden. So now you've got two adults in a relationship trying to get their needs met in totally different dialects of emotional Morse code. He hears, "We need to talk," and his nervous system treats it like a bear attack. She hears silence and feels abandoned, and both think the other's broken. He wants to feel respected, needed, not constantly corrected. She wants to feel seen, safe, not treated like she's too much for needing more than just logistics and orgasms. Psychologist Terence Real talks about this, how traditional masculinity conditions men to fear dependency. So when she reaches out, it registers as threat, not intimacy. But let me say this gently. If your nervous system reads emotional closeness as danger, that's not chemistry. That's unresolved shit wearing cologne. The goal isn't to erase the difference, it's to learn the language. To stop expecting someone to love you like you love them, and start asking what love looks like for them. Because peace that comes from emotional silence, that's not peace. That's quiet resentment waiting for its cue. It's not that men don't want...
That's where you keep getting it from.
What?
The resentment thing.
It's because we talk about resentment a lot.
So, like, when I hear that, yeah, I hear men like peace, and women like to confront peace, not peace.
Women like to
issues.
Well, they like to kind of know what's going on, and like they need reassurance as well as understanding and clarity, and to get that is by talking about things.
So if one, like it for me and you, if you like to talk things out, and I like to just forget it, yeah. But then they're saying you can't expect someone to love you the way you want to love.
Yeah.
But you'll expect in that sort of thing. Like, what's the resolve? Because one of us has to give.
Well, I think both of us have to give, and that would be the best thing. Compromise would be the best thing. So, for example, when we get to a point of arguing really badly, I don't do this, but I have tried to practice it better, whereby if you're like feeling confronted by something, I'm like, I want to talk to you about this. When do you feel like we can talk about it? But often, I'll be honest, you don't follow it up, and you never uphold your end of the deal. Because my thing is that I get that maybe now's not the right time, but the compromise here is that I'd like to talk about it. Even if you said, I want to talk about it, but can we put a timer on for 10 minutes? I would actually prefer that than you just never talking about it, because it does build resentment. Because
for
then,
you?
Yeah, it builds resentment for me, because I'm then like, well, I don't feel like you've given me the time of day. And then it probably builds resentment on your side, because you're thinking, why is she acting like a bitch?
Yeah.
Whereas it could be solved if we compromised and said, I want to talk about how I'm feeling, and you don't want to talk about it, but I can't talk about it for an hour, and you can't not talk about it at all. So where do we meet in the middle? Like, there has to be, and the thing is that that's just one example. The same people actually do a really good video called Me Out, which was basically saying that just because you think you're the fixer in a relationship, so they say that often, and it's not always just women, but probably stereotypically is women that are like, I'm the only one that cares about this relationship because I'm the one that's talking about it, and doesn't actually mean that you're the best equipped at doing that. Just because you have the intentions of going into it, which I think is definitely me, is that I'm like, no, we need to talk about this, but when I'm in the conversation, I don't quite have the tools to be able to fix it. I know I want to, I know that I'm in it, but I'm still caught up in my ego. I'm still being very like defensive I think
in situations, I don't know if this is all men, but in situations that I find is that if the conversation sounds like it's on its route to a resolve, I'm there for the conversation. If I don't believe that the conversation is, like I say this to you a lot, like, what's your end goal in this conversation? Meaning, like, do you want to sit down right now and talk because you're trying to fix it, or do you just want to be heard? Being heard doesn't fix things all the time. Because if I'm, as a man, if I make you hear what I'm feeling all the time, it's only going to put wedges between us. A lot of the times I will just...
But then you will treat me as such. So even if you don't tell me, you will treat me however it is you're thinking about me.
No.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it is.
A lot of the times I think I could be thinking terribly, and I'm just like, but I wouldn't treat you that way. I just swallow like what I'm thinking or feeling. But I could, on the other hand, really make you hear it, and then you're gonna have to tell me what you think about it, and it's not gonna change either of our minds, but I'm just making you hear it. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking, what's the result? What am I trying to get out of this? So like, I'm down like as a guy to have conversations, but I hate just being heard. I hate just us being heard for the sake of being heard. Because sometimes you're like, I want to talk, 'cause I want to fix this, and we'll start talking, but the first where you go with the conversation, I'm like, it feels worse now than when we weren't talking. So was the goal really to fix it, or did you just want to pick it up and continue?
Well, maybe it is the fact that you want to be heard, but I don't know why that's such a big problem.
Who?
Being wanting to be heard. I think every human wants to be heard. And I think a lot of the time you say that you don't understand it, but it's like you will say how you feel. And then if I have a counter to it, then I'm blamed for bringing the argument. And I'm like, but I'm just not going to agree with you just for the sake of not arguing. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because again, it just leaves one person thinking, well, whether it's me or you, because I know you seem to think that you do it a lot, but I do it a lot as well, where I'm just like, yeah, sure, I agree. But I don't. But I just do it to keep the peace. But I don't actually think that long term that takes time. And I think we were saying this when we was recording earlier, but I personally think like long relationships, you look at long relationships and it's not easy. And I think a lot of times men want, or people, but I know we was just saying it in terms of this because it's talking about men and women, they want peace, but sometimes peace isn't actually peace, like you were saying at the end. It's just two people that end up not being friends anymore because they're not able to talk to each other like how I would to my friend. Do you get what I mean? Like, and I think we've got a really good I know we were just sitting there talking about sex and everything. Like, we have a good sex life. We have a good sex life.
Great.
We have a good, like...
Say great.
Okay, all right, it's great. We have a great sex life.
Thank you.
We have a good relationship, and we have a really good friendship. And I think if you put someone... If you leave them not being able to feel seen, or just feeling like, oh, they're just agreeing with me so that we don't talk, there's no the juicy parts of a good relationship, which is like a friendship. Because in 60 years, if we don't have our sexual revolution, we're not going to be having sex all the time. We're not going to be necessarily traveling the world. So I still want us to be able to sit down and put the world to rights. Like, that is like like intimacy in a conversation is so important to me. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's way high up there. In fact, it's one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons I don't like this podcast, but there's one of the reasons I like this podcast, because we actually get to sit down and talk. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's an important thing. So it's like, if we just go, oh yeah, I just agree with you, or yeah, I just agree with you, I just think it just, I don't know, like, and like I was saying, all couples that you speak to that have been together a long time will say that it takes work. Like, it's not always going to be easy. And I know I said it earlier, but Michelle Obama, she said she hated him for 7 years. But she knew that this was the person she wanted to be with. She knew that she had to work at it. She knew that it was also circumstantial.
Well, we went through a dark patch.
When? Last week?
No, but like, we like, as in, I often say, like, I hate the fact that, well, I don't think we do put out as if we don't argue. We kind of open. We argue on here, and we talk about when we've argued, and it wasn't here. But still, a lot of people have the idea that we don't argue. But when I say we went for a rough patch, where we both was like, this ain't gonna work. Maybe like year 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I'm glad obviously we stuck it out, but it could have easily walked away. Look at this bite. I feel like it's a pin.
Okay. Can you get your foot out of my face?
Look at this bite.
Stop. It's all sandy.
Sandy?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been bit on the show.
Okay, come on.
I need the green stuff.
Come on. Come on.
What was we saying?
Then people think that we don't argue.
Yeah, people think we don't argue, which I hate. not well. I love that people think we might have this perfect relationship, but I hate when I hear them compare their relationship and they think their relationship's failing because they're not arguing. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing I hate. We do argue a lot daily.
It's awkward because we had obviously Shay and Max here the other day, and they were with us for 2-3 weeks really, and Max is, if you watched the last episode, is Reese's best friend. They've been friends since they were 4 or 5, and obviously Shay is his sister. So like I always have this thing where I'm like, even though I know that they understand how annoying you are, I'm still on the back foot. Do you get what I mean? You are so annoying, but I always feel like I'm still on the back foot, so I can't really argue with you in front of them, because ultimately they're probably gonna, when it comes down to it, if they think I'm right or I'm wrong, they will rightly so choose your side, right? But I did find it incredibly awkward.
You say that, but for the whole time I was here, I felt like my side was never really taken.
But for a time, really?
I felt like I was arguing with all 3 of you at a lot of periods of this.
But what does that tell you?
That people don't take my side.
That you're annoying.
No, that they don't take my side.
Okay, well, I think that ultimately, do you get what I mean? Yeah. Ultimately, that is what I'm saying. But like, can you stop?
I need the stuff. Go on, I'm listening.
But I think as well, like, it was awkward for me because it's like, I think when couples are there and they bicker or argue in front of other people, it makes the other people uncomfortable, because even if they agree or they disagree, they don't really want to get involved in your argument, and then you're just left being like, someone back me up here, but you know they're not going to back you up. Do you get what I mean? And it was awkward, like, because that is us. But equally, this is just me being transparent, is that we had a conversation afterwards, and I basically said to you that I was like, I know that I do it too, so it's not a complete blaming thing, but like, I don't like it when we're around friends or family and you put us at odds in a conversation. So it's like, I'll be saying something and you'll kind of like disagree to the point of like, it looks awkward. Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't like that, like, awkwardness. And like, maybe if we say something that's wrong, we can pull each other up afterwards. Do you get what I mean? And like I said, that's me as well. So it's both of us. So before, I knew you was going to do that, because you don't listen when I say, if you rewind it, you'll see it. But I said, it is both of us.
And that's why I never said anything.
So I do think that is like something that is awkward, like arguments in front of other people and like how you manage it. Because
how did we get to that?
I don't know.
What was the thing?
The video.
The video, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, so that video means that this isn't a me and you thing then?
No, it's not a me and you thing. I think
it's a man
I think it's a couple thing. That you get the same thing with
2 men or 2 women?
100%. I think people coming together, whether it be in a relationship, a friendship, a working partnership, whatever it might be, have communication issues. Everyone has different experiences, so we're brought up differently. Like we've said this before on a podcast, your family don't really talk about stuff.
My entire family do what I do.
Your family are disassociated.
My mum, both my sisters, we're all the same. None of us really verbalize
you
what we're thinking.
dissociate. You just
I think I'm the most
back.
verbal of us all.
Yeah, probably.
I'm probably the most like, what would you call it? I don't know. I would say what I'm feeling before anyone else. I think Shay, I think her last relationship didn't break up because she wouldn't open up. Literally. Carly, up until now, I think she's talks about having issues with like opening up about grieving and stuff. And my mum goes through shit all the time, but you don't hear her moan about it. Or you might hear her moan.
She might moan about it a little bit.
Moan, but like,
but it doesn't rock her world. Like, as in, like,
she won't moan at the issue. She'll moan about having an issue. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like maybe that it's nothing to do with relationships. It's more like people.
I think everyone has different, we all have varying communication styles, and like I definitely have to work on the way that I communicate better. And I think for Reese, like and I think there was a whole video that I asked Reese to watch weeks and weeks ago, and he didn't watch it. and then watched the first 5 minutes and then felt like it only applied to me and then switched off from it.
I fell asleep.
And you fell asleep.
I didn't
But
switch off. I fell asleep.
my thing is though, is I think you have to be curious, not blaming. And I'm really trying to do that because we've been together so long that sometimes, I know it's not long in compared to like, 30, 40 years, but
8 years is a long time.
it's still a long time.
You deserve some sort of badge or something because you're actually my longest ever relationship.
But yeah, so I think like over
8 years.
8 years,
We're nearly at 10.
nearly a decade.
Fuck.
Decade.
Fuck, Kaira.
But yeah, so like I think in that time it's really easy for relationships to build up like small resentments or like, well, this is how we argued before. But I think you have to be curious and have to be open to changing. And like one thing that we both do, Max pulled us both up on it the other day, like, is we're both defensive, so that's going to come up. We're both competitive, that's going to come up. We both have.
You match me in competitiveness and defensiveness.
Mm-hmm. And facial expressions. We're both bad with facial expressions.
Yeah, you wear your heart on your face.
Yeah, and so do you. So like we have, so that can be triggering to the other person, even if the other person that's doing it doesn't even mean to. Do you get what I mean? And but the thing is it's like, it's really easy, I think, after a long time, and I definitely do this, and it's something I really, really, really want to work on. It's so easy for me to preempt what your reaction is going to be and feel like,
and respond to that.
And respond accordingly.
Without me even doing anything.
Right? But it's also, you made me forget what I was going to say. Second. It's also easy for me to, like, not just the preempting, but like afterwards to be like, yeah, well, that's just because that's how you feel. Yeah. Like, and kind of like roll it up, as opposed to being like looking into it a little bit more. It's just easy for us. We know each other so well. But then it's like, sometimes I've said this to you before, is that like the girl you met at, I just turned 23. Do you get what I mean? The day before I met you, I just turned 23. To the woman I am now, I have completely different standards, things that I would accept, things I'm interested in. Are you talking about
if you was to look for a new boyfriend?
Yeah, like the person I was looking for then is not the same person I'd be looking for now. I'd be looking for my 25-year-old. So, but do you get what I mean? As in like, but then what's the beauty of it is that we can grow this relationship.
Do you reckon if you met me now?
Yeah. Well, that bald heads.
Yeah. If you met me today.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
What do you reckon? Yeah, I think I would love you. I love you.
No, not love.
I love you though.
Yeah, but love comes after lust.
I love the bones of you.
Love comes after lust.
But I fancy you.
Yeah.
Of course I fancy you.
With my morals, with my views, with my work ethic.
Yeah, because the difference is that back then, like I said, I was looking for something different, and you were something different then. You're now something different now. Do you get what I mean? What?
I'm something different now.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's different. But like what I mean is like,
if you just met me at Born to Roll,
I'd be trying to roll with you. Yeah.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't meet anyone through jits. I don't think.
Swear.
Because I'd be like, oh my god, I look so disgusting. I would fully friend zone you. Yeah. You'd be like anyone else. Because I'd just I'd be like, what? How on earth could you be attracted to me? Because I'm so disgusting at jiu-jitsu. So I wouldn't even contemplate you as a relationship prospect.
I'd love to play that out. I'd love to know.
In another universe, we never met. And we only meet right now in Thailand.
Yeah.
In a whole parallel universe, that's what happens.
No, I don't think.
You think we only met in one universe?
Yeah.
In Aquam. In Clapham.
It was like madness.
But I know the thing is though, you met tons of girls in that club, but I'm just the only one that stayed, as we looked at last week.
But yeah,
you're tired. You want to finish?
I am tired because this has been like how long have we done? Over an hour?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have.
Cool. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
I think we've
unpacked a lot in this.
I think I've heard about a lot of signals I've missed, and I'm gonna take them up now.
No.
Stop tapping the mic. Do you like getting told off?
I do.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Family members, I'm sorry that it was a bit cringe all the way through.
The last episode was really vulnerable and really,
it was a good episode.
It was actually sensitive. Do you know what we could do for like the real ones? We could release it on like behind a paywall. It's like just a little extra Brucey bonus. Or
it was a
something
really
like
good
that.
episode. Kaira was, I didn't think we was going to get through doing another one because she was upset.
I bared my soul out being vulnerable. Probably boring, but
I couldn't put another episode out of bad audio. So we done it. Got through it, man. Done.
We can do anything we put our minds to. Ow, that actually hurt.
Hope you lot enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure you leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications. If you're listening on any audio platforms, give us a review, 5 stars, all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
We do appreciate it. We don't just ask you to do it and forget about it. It does mean a lot.
Go onto our Instagram, go onto our TikTok.
Yeah, please.
Support the thing.
And you know where to send. You know where to send any messages or questions you have. CHATaBOX.contact@gmail.com. That's
CHATaBOX.contact@gmail.com.
And that's it, man. We'll see you next week. And also, I think we mentioned this in the episode that's not coming out that we recorded. The previous episode with our first guest, Max. Obviously, it was only half of it went onto YouTube. The full episode, if you was interested and wanted to hear more from Max, is on all of the audio platforms. So if you go on Spotify, Apple Music, any of those, you'll get the full length episode on there. It was only half the episode went out onto YouTube.
Yeah, he speaks more into his like journey into the army and about their relationship and their time as well. So if you want a little bit extra, go listen on Spotify if this is not enough for you.
Yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I've been your boy Bailey.
I've been Kaira.
Peace.